So, if I can
Thank
welcome
you.
on stage Jack Parr, who you might have seen in that film just then,
Maybe.
and Gage Oxley, who is the director, writer. Do a bit of
I also
everything.
did appear in the film for like a split second, so if you've got good eyesight, you can kind of like spot me. I think it's like the 13-minute mark.
We can rewind it at the end.
Yeah.
It's a real pleasure to have you both here today and to be able to show the film, because it's really wonderful to be able to. It's lovely to be able to share films as a cinema, obviously, but it's really nice to be able to check in with young filmmakers and actors when they're kind of at the beginning of their career and really sort of see where they're headed up, and then when you're super famous, we can say we knew you then. As far as early projects go, this is a pretty ambitious one though for both you to be involved in. I really love how many kind of risks you took as an actor, how ambitious you were as a director. Do you mind telling me a little bit about how the project came together and how you guys started working together?
Want me to start?
Yeah, go for
So this project came together. I saw a video called American Male, short film, 6-minute film. Watch it, 'cause it's really good. This is where I got the idea from. On MTV, they posted it. And so I text Gage saying, Gage, we need to make a film like this. We need to make an English version of this. So he watched the short film that I showed him. And then that night we met up. We went through so many ideas. We brainstormed everything. 1 week later, he rang me up and said, I've got a script. So we met up again. I fell in love with it, and I said, we need to shoot it. So then, like, a couple of months later, we got, like, a full crew, didn't we? We had, like, 12 crew members and me and then other actors. Carry on.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like the speed it took to kind of get to that point, to the point of production. I know some of the crew were in the audience today, and it was 2 weeks when we kind of thought, we sat down and thought, yeah, we'll make it, and then 2 weeks later we were on the first day of shooting.
Yeah, we literally fell in love with it, didn't we? The idea.
Yeah,
We was like,
yeah.
this is a great idea, let's do this.
Yeah.
Like the whole concept and stuff.
And I think it is ambitious, but I mean, the budget was £500, which is obviously considerably. I think most of that was spent on vomit. But yeah, I mean, it was overall it was very ambitious, but I think it was a project that needed to be made for us. We all just kind of thought, this is something that really needs to be made.
And what's the reception been like? Because I've seen some really fantastic reviews in the press, and you've been going out and you had a screening last year at Everyman Cinema, or was it earlier this year?
Earlier this year, yeah, in March, yeah.
What's it been like showing it to audiences? Has it been a bit scary or pretty exciting?
It's always a bit new. I mean, we've only had two public. This is the very first public screening, but we've had obviously we've had a lot of press coverage, which is amazing, and it's always been really fun, quite funny to kind of sit and watch the reactions at certain points, because I know what's coming, but they don't. So it is quite funny to kind of see that. But I think overall the general gist of it is that they agree that it's a film that is quite provocative, it is quite out there, but it does need to be made, and it's a story that. It hasn't been told really. Chems is something that's really not represented in the media, and that's what we thought we needed to do. And obviously you've got amazing feedback from everyone as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've got some nice reviews and some nominations and stuff, so it's all coming in. It's great. It's going well. Yeah.
You said that chemsex isn't represented a lot in the media. Do you think that's because it's an issue that is predominantly affecting young gay men or young men in general, because there's obviously such a big problem with young men and suicide, and they're such a vulnerable kind of group, but not encouraged to talk about their feelings. Why do you think that this isn't covered appropriately?
I think it is generally, there's not a lot of awareness about it outside of that very, very specific community. And I think it is something that is slightly being opened up. There's a really brilliant Vice documentary called Chemsex, which I think we watched kind of and saw kind of how they looked at it. And there are a lot of brilliant organisations like 5016 Street who helped us make the film, who support users of chems. But I think generally, and it's a difficult story to tell. It's not an easy watch. It's not an easy make. I think it is something that will progress further and further. But there is a definite misconception that this is just in London. It's not. When we had the meeting, we did a lot of research in terms of people in Leeds, and it was literally we were sat in a meeting, and I got a message through from someone asking, who was just down the road from us in the meeting. So it's not just London. It's not just city centres. And it's something that it's fine, but it is something that's quite a really big thing that's affecting a lot of very vulnerable young men.
And I think I'm really hopeful that films like this, and I mean your film is a great starting point, but film is a wonderful tool to get people thinking about these different subject matters and start people who maybe can't find a way to reach out. It's quite a safe space in a cinema to start to feel welcomed and like you can talk about something. What next big topic are you going to deal with after this one?
That's a good question. We've got, all of the stuff we do, it aims to tackle a very specific challenge within the LGBT community. So this is the first instalment, as you might have seen at the front, it said instalment 1 of the Odyssey. So we're doing 6 short films this year to commemorate the 50th anniversary. And each one tackles a different issue within the LGBT community, but in a very stylized, different way. You know, it's not... I get, you know, this is an LGBT film, but equally there's other stuff aside from it. So that, you know, we've got plans for instalment 3 and 4, which are sci-fi films. It just happens that those sci-fi films have a gay character, and I think that is something that needs to be tackled. You know, it's great having LGBT representation, but to label it as, oh, that's a gay film, I think is quite difficult. But yeah, we're hoping to explore quite a lot of, and mental illness you mentioned is a really, really massive topic in terms of sexuality.
I think that's an interesting point, because with regards LGBT films, often with stuff we show here at the Picture House, when things get labelled, this is an LGBT film, it's almost like, oh, it's just for an LGBT audience. But there's so much in these kind of films which is all about just humanity and understanding each other. Do you feel happy for this to be labelled as an LGBT film, or do you feel like it's really important as a filmmaker to try and just break out of that box?
Yeah, I think we're at a really interesting crossover at the moment between we still need to label some things to be able to get that audience there and to be able to get that representation there, but equally, you know, it's kind of like a catch-22. You want to break away, but actually you really need it at the moment. I think in the future we will see you know, that kind of label dropping and fading, which will be great. But yeah, I think it's still necessary. Yeah.
You mentioned American Male as one of the reference points for you specifically on this film. Are there any other films and filmmakers that have been strong influences for either of you or both of you?
Well, you showed me the documentary on chemsex, so we watched that and we couldn't even finish it because we were just like, it's so deep and dark, and we were just like watching it for research and stuff, and it's just mental, isn't it? Like that was the main one, chemsex. That documentary was the main and then obviously 5016 Street, they were a massive help. They sent us a video and we sat and watched it, and basically what they do, so all them references in that, I would have never known that unless 5016 Street helped us with the cable. They said that they use cables instead of like belts because it's cool, and just little things like that, like putting your arm up because it goes down and straight into your system, and coughing. They always cough after they do it. Just little things like that helped us a lot, didn't it? Yeah.
Just to get that representation right. Yeah. Because I think it's when we're doing challenging issues like this, you've got to represent it as it, you know, as correctly as you can possibly do. But yeah, I think in terms of inspiration, I mean, Emma and Tilly and the band who performed before, their music, it was a huge inspiration for the actual project. And yeah, I think music actually was quite a big part of the film. And I'm sure you have actors as well that kind of you took inspiration from. Bryan Cranston, I remember from Breaking Bad, there was a really horrible vomiting scene in that as well, which we watched on repeat before we filmed that scene.
You mentioned Emma and Tilly, and it's really fantastic to have you guys play at the beginning, and your music's so wonderful, and it is a really strong element to the film. And I think with short films and low budget films, often the sound design and music can be an area where it falls short, but this absolutely flourishes. How did you guys start working together, and was the music, did it already exist, or was any of it written specifically for the project?
So we met was it 3 or 4 years ago now. I think they've worked on every single one of our projects, which is brilliant to have, you know, such brilliant talent and a really great style to fit to our music. But I think there was one piece which was written for our previous film that wasn't kind of quite ready for that one, that was in this one, and it just worked perfectly. But yeah, it was all written for the film, which I think is quite important to get that. To get that mix, you know, it needs to show and that style, and the music's been really, really, you know, well received as well. It's on Spotify if any of you have it.
I've got a CD in my car.
Yeah, just throwing that out there.
Does anyone in the audience have any questions for Jack and Gage while we have them? Yes.
That was. I don't like to give away film secrets. Yeah, this is our film secret. That was cold vegetable soup.
And baby food.
And baby food.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was lovely.
I think we had a spare carrot on set as well, which we kind of chopped up a little bit as well. Which Rachel's in the audience. She did a fantastic job of makeup. I mean, and she, you know, was whisking away that vomit for the majority of the morning. Yeah.
I should have just said I'm a method actor. It was
Yeah,
real
it's
sick.
real vomit.
Yeah, I'm just really good.
You mentioned that 'cause you worked on The Pursuit of Normal, which was your previous film as well. But there's a lot of repeat collaborators in your work, Gage. It feels like you're building up a really nice community here in Leeds. What is it like kind of working as a filmmaker in the city at the moment?
I mean, Leeds is a brilliant city for art. I mean, we've got the Hyde Park Picture House, we've got Leeds Film Festival, loads of brilliant independent venues, and equally loads of fantastically talented young independent, you know, crew members, cast members, musicians from Yorkshire and, you know, the region. And I think the one message that we always have is London's brilliant, but it's not all about London. It's, you know, there's Manchester with Media City, we've got Leeds, as I've mentioned, with everything else. And I think having that kind of repeat collaboration with so many brilliant, talented people is really important because, I mean, we know we're just starting out. This was our like fourth kind of big project, and it's important, I think, that we learn and develop on the sets, and we have that kind of very easy atmosphere on set, I think, where we can learn and develop. I mean, I've learnt so much from this film already, so hopefully everyone else has as well who took part.
And you're working increasingly with the Leeds Young Film Fest and Leeds Film Fest on doing some curation of programming as well. Is that affecting you as a filmmaker to be curating other people's films?
It's heartbreaking because I'm on one account saying no and rejecting filmmakers who've applied and entered into our film festival, and then getting rejections from this film for the others. So it is quite heartbreaking, but it's really fascinating to see that other side of the table and to understand actually what film festivals and what curators have to go through just to get a film. And what it is, you know, just because you get a rejection, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It just doesn't work out. There's a film similar. There's so many different reasons. So that's helped, I think, with my kind of self-esteem with the film, I think. But yeah, it's a great crossover to be able to have those contacts.
If there's anything else from the audience, I will...
Well, actually, the majority of the crew actually just sat right in front of you. So those are the... it was a really, really small crew. It was really quite... and it was ambitious. The majority of people volunteered their time. In fact, well, everyone volunteered their time and effort and talent to the project. And it was just a case of... You know, we put a lot of feelers out there. We put the synopsis, and anyone who asked to be part of it, we said yeah, sure, come on board. And we had it was a range of people. I think the average age of the crew was 19. So like 1 year ago, they wouldn't have been able to watch the film. So yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we've got all of our social media. We put everything out on there, and we welcome loads of brand new people to the set every time. So we had Matt Tingle and Alice, who was the DP. They were brand new, and we just bring loads of people involved. And I think it very much is a community effort.
And I think there was one there.
We had it licensed by the IAC, so if anyone is making films, I'd recommend the IAC. They help license really popular songs, such as The Fairy Tale of New York, which was that was quite a big nightmare for quite a long period of time, quite a lot of months. They were brilliant at helping.
Oh, fantastic! I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw it to a close there. But I'm sure if any of you have any more questions for Gage at the end, otherwise I'm assuming you are going to celebrate or
yes, yeah, no, we'll be outside. If anyone's got any questions, for me and Jack, and for anyone who's involved, absolutely. Thank you
Thanks
so
a
much.
lot. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.